Hello, professor and class. My name is Ruth, and today I'm going to be talking about a movie I've grown up watching with my mom, and that's called Random Harvest. If you haven't seen it yet, I really highly recommend you go out, look on Netflix for it, because it incorporates all those elements that you really want to see in a feature film. There's the ever-present drama of romantic plot, World War I and II action, comedy thrown in there. This movie really sets aside from all the others, making it a classical Hollywood film. In Random Harvest, with a shell shock to the head during the First World War, our main character, Charles Rainier, loses all memory of his former life completely. And after finally escaping from the asylum from which he was detained, Charles meets and consequently falls in love with a showgirl whose name is Paula. They live a nice, cozy life for many years. They have a child together. But one day, when Charles was walking out of the house, he was going to a newspaper interview, and he was struck by a car and miraculously regains all previous knowledge of his life living before the war and completely forgets about the one he is living in now. So he returns home to the United States and he falls back into his own life. However, meanwhile, unbeknownst to him, Paula has located her husband and moves her family to the States, working under Mr. Rainier as his secretary, Margaret. And with the necessity to marry, eventually Charles proposes and later ties the knot to Margaret out of convenience, still oblivious to their former relationship. But she makes it her priority to win him back with his affections, and through fate, they are finally and happily reconnected as their former selves towards the end of the film. But there are many recurring themes throughout Random Harvest. One of them, the most controversial and major event happening in this time period, is the World War I. In particular, is the real anxieties that people suffered during that time. Psychological trauma especially was one of the most common and terrifying results that vets had to face. And in the film, they use amnesia as their central plot device they form the movie around. Charles is left nearly mute. He's slightly on the autism spectrum. And Smitty is what they call them in the asylum because he can't remember his name. He can't remember where he's from or what he did before the war. And the actualization of the dangers and implications regarding this time were entailed because major distraught was happening throughout the nation. People didn't know what was going to happen. Are they going to come back from the war? And particularly with the idea that one could lose all mental capacity, especially. And in the film, after he regains full consciousness of the situation, he exclaims, "I can't tell you what it means to be someone again." Random Harvest, it bests all of its critics because it's a film in which psychological agonies of war, including separation, injury, and even possibly death, are daily realities and anxieties of the lives of its characters in the film, and also those enduring the hardships of battle during that time. It is one of a handful of films that really links World War I and World War II together during that time. And this is where director Marvin LeRoy really took hold of the cinematography. He used flashbacks to explain different dimensions of time within the story. And he was skilled at both incorporating historical events into his plotlines as well as really keeping his onstage lovers within proximity and ignorance for a really long period of time. You honestly don't know how the movie's going to end until the final moment, the final frame. But this set the film into really a whole league of its own. And another major feature of Why Random Harvest was that it placed in a new category called women's films. And although critics really despised them, the popularity, the public adored them. They were all the rage. They were really melodramas built around empathetical female characters, who went through romantic suffering and self-sacrifice on their way to finding that forever love, which was a popular theme that recurred back in that time frame. For the reviewers of the late 1930s, 1940s, women's film was a series of pulp cinemas and dramas, which could explain its legendary nature and why it was set aside as a top film for the decade. But these newly infamous women films are basically conflicted dramas of females caught between the older social rules that they were following and basically the new passions and desires that they felt in this day and age. It is one of the most satisfying of the great women's films because the plot line finishes in complete doubt right up to its long photo capturing ending. You don't know what's happening until that last frame, how the film direction will really go. It received 7 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Art Direction, Scoring of a dramatic or comedy picture, and Adapted Screenplay. So according to MGM Studios, their yield profit came to around $4 million in making it one of the biggest hits of the decades. But like I said before, this movie has everything. There's romance, drama, comedy, and thrill that are both fascinating to watch, especially for this time frame, but also an insight to the anxieties and the real struggles of those in both world wars. And you don't receive 7 Oscar nominations for a movie that's unworthy of the big screen. So, whether there's the amazingly long and wordy screenplay or through the look and the glance of the 2 main characters, Random Harvest is captivating in its sadness and its brilliance, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing summer and be good. Thank you. Bye-bye.